funny, crazy thing is, every single time, I look like a crazy woman, and I am. Every single time I start getting back into ministry, and I don't mean just like, oh, I'm going to go volunteer in an event or I'm going to help out, whatever. It's like a serious opportunity comes up, to share my testimony and to share the miracles and the spiritual warfare and all of these just stories that sound absolutely crazy, which makes me the crazy Jesus lady. But they've been witnessed. I mean, everything from this miraculous recovery of the Chiari malformation that I had. Gosh, what was that? 2019? That's it. And that's what's crazy, is because these intense seasons of our lives where we've had the most uncertainty and the things that could be, soul crushing at that time, are the things that led us closer to God. It was because of that I really felt the Lord telling me, listen, faith comes by hearing. And I couldn't watch television. I was in a reclined position, you guys. And it was such a hard season. But God, right? It was 3 days before Easter that half of my body just stopped working, went in, couldn't name the things on there, like the brain to verbal. It wasn't working. Thought I was having a stroke. It turned out to be a Chiari malformation type 1. My husband got me into the Mayo Clinic, and they did all the tests, and it was 3 days after that happened. So 3 days, not the Friday, whatever the time frame was. Anyways, the third day it landed on Easter that I could walk with a walker, assisted with a walker. And so to me, that was significant. To anybody else, be like, yeah, 3 days beforehand, this thing happens. And then to me, in that moment, it was a miracle. It was an answer to prayer. And so then coming to our anniversary, was it the anniversary of the day we met, that we were at the Mayo? Or was it our anniversary, our wedding anniversary?
I believe it was in August.
I think it might have been in end of June. I think we're a forgetful people, and that's what the Bible shows us over and over again in the Old Testament. But then it was our anniversary. We went in to get the final, okay, this is what's going to have to be done. And, unfortunately, the only thing that you can do for this particular thing is they cut your skull, they lift it up, they put a mesh something in. I don't know if it's like cheesecloth or what, but then they put it back in and they zip up. Well, they stitch it, but they call them zipper heads. That's the surgery to fix this condition. And so the very last day, which is on our anniversary, we go in and they pull up my scans, my x-ray, MRI, all of the things. And she's like, this is your brain. And my husband's like, that's not my wife's brain. I'm thinking, how do you know? And he told me it's because I've studied that. I've been looking at this for weeks. And, just the concern that he had, that he could look at my brain and be like, that's not her brain. And she's like, this is it. Pulled out, looked through all of the papers to see if there was anything missing. And she's like, no, this is it. And we just kind of looked at each other. And she's like, well, there's nothing there. There's absolutely nothing there. And this isn't one of those things that you're like, I'm a hypochondriac. And I think it was physically there to get into the Mayo Clinic. We had to present all of this stuff. And so I forgot to shut my notifications off. It's like, I'm not as social as I once was. So it's not my brain, but it is my brain. But the malfunction, the little thing is no longer there, and it looks like a comma. It was like a comma. And if you know anything about the comma, or is it the semicolon as well, those are like a pause, right? Not comma chameleon. But it was like that, and it was this pause. And so going back now, because my ADHD brain will spiderweb this story, I was stuck on my sofa, and I felt God telling me, faith comes by hearing, listen, because I couldn't watch it, and I couldn't read my Bible. It hurt, just headaches. I just lay there with my eyes closed. And so I was like, what does that mean? So I prayed about it more, and I just got this like idea that just popped in. I call them downloads. It was the 1 Year Chronological Bible. And so I went to Audible. Faith comes by hearing. I can't read my Bible. And I downloaded the 1 Year Chronological Bible and I listened to it on repeat the entire time. From whatever that was, April, maybe the first week of April, May, whenever Easter was, until the day that we had this. And then I shared it with my kids, and that's their go to bed wind down, is the 1 Year Chronological Bible. That wasn't a forced thing. That was, we're hearing mom listening to this every night before she goes to bed, and it's helping her sleep. I'm getting rested, and that helps everything if you're a mom, is to get rest. And that's one of the promises that we have. And so they wanted to have it too, and so they love it. And that's what came out of my, I guess, scare. But I didn't have fear because I trust in God, and I know that whatever happens, and even this really yucky stuff that can come up and pop up in our lives, our God is mighty to save. And he's working on things, and he will use all things for the good of those who love him. And I wanted to share that because, yes, there was this opportunity to go and have fellowship and worship with women and share testimonies like these. And we have so many. Because I'm a knucklehead, not because I'm like holy or like of all of the sinners, I am the worst. But God has used these things, and with the 2x4 at times, but he is faithful, and he's been faithful. And a lot of you that are here, you know, and you've heard a story, you've been a part of that story, or your family or friends have been a part of that story. It's, in some way, that's how we've come to probably know most of you that are here. But I feel like the enemy was trying to stop that message from getting out. And I don't like being on here. Against, I know, popular opinion, this kind of gives me a little bit of anxiety. But the enemy wants to shut me up. You guys know what a difficult task that can be. But joke's on him, because I'm going to push past that fear of sharing and do it right from where I'm at, because ministry starts in our homes. And I pop in when there's something that's worthy of sharing, and that's typically Jesus. Bam, Jesus. And I'm not going to let the enemy shut me up and have to push past that uncomfortableness. And this is a huge switch for me, having shared so many, over 10,000 videos in the past on other platforms. But I want to share the joy we have in Jesus, because there's still some of you that are unconvinced, and I'm not trying to convince you, but I want you to experience his goodness. And so that's what I wanted to share. And that's exactly why I'm here.